This is your sign. It's time to pivot. You're not behind and you're not wrong. You're just being redirected. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite pirate captain. It's your favorite goddess king. It's your favorite hoodoo reverend lady speech in the place to be. And I want to welcome you back to the Lady Speech experience. You could be anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, you are somewhere in the world, and yet you're here with me, giving up your time and attention, which is valuable, sharing some space with me. So thank you for that. Now, if you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling any of this, if you're feeling any of me, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with everything I'm putting down over here. Now, let's talk about the fact that it's pivot season, shall we? This isn't about quitting. It's about course correction. This isn't a panic message. It's a permission slip. The world is shifting. The world is changing at a macro and micro level. We can't get back what we had 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 6 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago. It's time to pivot. It's time to make some changes. It's time. Pivoting is not about abandoning yourself or your goals. Pivoting is not an indictment that you weren't doing good things beforehand. Pivoting simply means it's time to shift directions. It's time to go and follow a new path. Repeat after me. I trust myself to pivot as the season changes. There's a lot of you who are resisting the urge to pivot because you don't trust yourself. You don't trust that you can forge a new pathway. You don't trust that you can take the knowledge that you have, the wisdom that you have, the resources that you have, and make something new. You don't trust that you got this, and you don't trust that the universe got you. This is a moment to pause, to sit in that, to address that, to work with that, to heal that, and then ultimately release that. Because what season is it? It's pivot season. You do not owe consistency to anything that no longer fits. Let me say that again. You do not owe consistency to anything that no longer fits. Pivoting is wisdom. It's not weakness. Pivoting is wisdom, it's not weakness. And there's a few of you who refuse to pivot because you view yourself as a sign of weakness. We've been taught that quitting something, that changing direction means you're fickle. It means you don't know your mind. It means all types of things except for you don't owe consistency to what no longer fits. We are people who grow, who evolve, who need different things. We release things, we pick up things. And there's going to be situations, people, objects, different things in our life that we can no longer carry towards the future that we are building. It doesn't mean these things, these people, these objects, it doesn't mean they weren't valuable. It doesn't mean they didn't mean anything to us. It just means that moving forward, it's a different walk. It's a different direction. Let's use the analogy of a captain who is stewarding their ship. A good captain has to know how to read a map and the water. If you send a captain out on a ship and all they can do is read a map, they might be okay for a long time. They could possibly be okay for the entire journey. But if they don't know how to read the environment, if they don't know how to read the water, what's going to happen to them when they encounter situations they didn't think of? What's going to happen to them when they encounter danger? Will they be able to prevent going into danger if they can't read the water? No. A good captain who can read a map and the water will know that sometimes, even though the map says this, the water is saying something different. If I know that we are heading into a really crazy storm and there is a way out if I pivot this way, it would be irresponsible for me to keep going through the storm. I risk my life. I risk whatever it is that I'm transporting. People, goods. No, if I can see something coming because I know I can read the water, then it is best for me to pivot in response to what the water is saying. And if I can read the map and the water, I can get us back on track. It'll just take a different route. Normalize changing, shifting, and pivoting without apology. Normalize walking a new path because that's what spirit, universe, and your inner guide is telling you to do. Normalize living your life and evolving without apologizing. Spirit is asking you to pivot, and you owe no one an apology for that. Let's talk about validating your grief and your growth. It is all the way possible to honor your past without clinging to it. There are a lot of us who don't want to move forward because we feel like we are abandoning parts of ourselves or versions of ourselves that did what they needed to do back then, okay? Honor your past. Honor who you were. Honor the grief that it takes to move on from that person. It is absolutely possible to still embrace who we were then, what we did then, the things that were a part of that life, while acknowledging that we need to put those things to rest and move forward. Pivoting doesn't mean you don't get to grieve. Pivoting doesn't mean you won't hurt a little bit or your heart won't be sore because of what you're leaving behind. It is scary walking a new path. It is scary choosing a new direction, but it's absolutely necessary and a part of not only life, but long-term success. There's a few people who don't want to pivot because it translates to being ungrateful for your past. But real gratitude does not mean you have to stay in a situation that no longer serves you. Real gratitude does not mean you have to stay in a situation that you've outgrown. You can absolutely be grateful for past blessings and acknowledge that those past blessings no longer fit. It is not being ungrateful, acknowledging that it's time to move on. The earth itself engages in evolution. It engages in growth. Use that as your example. You can absolutely continuously hold gratitude for everything that you've accomplished, for who you've been, for all of those things in the past, while putting them to rest in the ways that they need to be put to rest so that you can move on to a bigger and brighter future. Evolution is natural law. Repeat after me. I bless all of the previous chapters that raised me. And now I give myself permission to turn the page. What are some signs that it's time to pivot? Loss of passion. Loss of passion. You used to do something. You used to engage in a situation. You used to engage in a relationship and it was so passionate. It lit your fire. It stroked your inner flame. You had all of the energy, all of the desire, all of the everything for it. And now you got to dig for it. You got to fight for it. You got to spend a long time finding it. A loss of passion is a great indicator that it's time to pivot. Exhaustion. The thing you used to do, the path you used to walk, it used to energize you. It used to uplift you. It used to pour into you. It used to give you energy. And now you have to fight like hell to find the energy to engage in the thing, to be with the thing, to do the thing. Or engaging in the relationship or engaging in the path that you were previously walking is now taking from you. Where it used to pour into you, where it used to excite you, where it used to make your fire bubble forth and onward and upwards, it now takes from you. It now steals from you. It no longer replenishes you. It tears you down. Resentment. Do you find yourself going to work or engaging in this situation or engaging in these former activities, and where it used to bring you joy, now you hate it? Now you're resentful? Now you find yourself in the situation talking about, I could have had a V8. I could have been doing something else. Why do I have to continuously be here? Resentment, resentment, resentment. Sometimes, especially in regards to relationships, this is one of the biggest indicators that you need to pivot. You used to look at this person with so much love. You used to look at this person with so much adoration, and now you look at them and you get frustrated. You resent their every breath. You can't stand anything that they're doing. Resentment is often a huge indicator that it's time to pivot. Dragging your feet when it comes to accomplishing what needs to be accomplished. When you find yourself easily distracted, looking for distraction so you don't have to do the thing, or when you have to be distracted while you're doing the thing, or you cannot find it in your heart to be efficient and productive, you're slow accomplishing the things that you need to accomplish. You're not as quick as you used to be, and you have what it takes to be quick, but you just, when it comes to this thing, you can't be quick. You're dragging your feet when it comes to whatever it is that it's time to pivot from. That is a good indication that it's time to pivot. Now, with what I just listed, that's not all of the symptoms and the signs that it's time to pivot, but those are some really big ones that you can look at and use as indicators that it's time to pivot and change course. Pivoting is refinement and alignment. It is not abandonment. There are a lot of us who refuse to pivot because it triggers abandonment issues within us. It triggers ways in which we have been abandoned. And so we don't want to abandon other people. We don't want to abandon this cause that we've dedicated so much of our life, of our time to. We don't want to leave those things behind. But pivoting is not abandonment. It is about running towards a future that suits you. It is about running towards something that can hold you. It is about aligning yourself with the next phase of your life. It is about aligning the evolution of who you are with the path that is able to hold and support that growing part of you. You're not abandoning yourself when you pivot. And oftentimes a lot of people feel like they're abandoning the mission. Sometimes the mission does need to be abandoned, but oftentimes pivoting actually allows you to accomplish that mission better, bigger, stronger, and faster. Sometimes you are being called to pivot because there is a better route available to you. Kind of like driving. If you use maps when you drive, depending on what system or what map system you're using, there's gonna be times when you are doing what you need to do, you're following the directions, and the map comes and says, hey, there is an accident ahead, and we've got an alternative route so that you don't have to encounter this accident. If you keep going, this accident is going to keep you off course, or it's gonna delay your time of arrival at the thing you need to get to. So take this other route. Pivot. It's not always about abandonment. Sometimes pivoting gets you to where you need to go faster. Also, sometimes Spirit is asking you to pivot because there's an accident ahead, because they can see circumstances that you can't, because it understands that something is coming that's gonna delay you or completely stop you from accomplishing your goal. So pivoting is oftentimes not about abandonment, but it's about what? Refinement and alignment. It's about getting you to your goal faster. You are allowed to change your mind. 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 Full stop. Full stop. You're allowed to change your mind as many times as you need to change your mind. It doesn't matter if it makes you look crazy to other people. You are allowed to change your mind. Now, some of you don't want to pivot because you know for a fact there are loved ones who are attached to the old version of you. And they don't want the new version of you. So you stay the same. You keep doing what you need to do to appease people who, in the end, can't live your life for you. You need to live your life for you. Which means pivoting and losing the people who cannot walk this next phase and this next stage of evolution with you. And that hurts because we want to take everybody with us. But pivoting shows us that sometimes we can't take people with us. That those people are with us or were with us for a season. They were with us for a reason. They were not with us for a lifetime. And in order for us to be the best versions of ourselves and to achieve everything we are meant to achieve, we've got to pivot and move in a new direction. There's some of you who don't want to pivot because the pivot's going to be really, really drastic. And it's going to prove confusing for some people. And all I got for that is let them be confused. Your clarity over their confusion. Let them be confused. Not everybody has to get what you're doing. Not everybody has to see what you're doing. Not everybody has to understand what you're doing. As long as you understand what you're doing. As long as you're clear with what you're doing. Okay? As long as you are grounded in what you're doing. That is what ultimately matters. That is what ultimately matters. Let them be confused. Let them not get it. Let them look in wonder and awe at what you're doing as you find satisfaction in the pivot, as you find joy in the pivot, as you find your new self in the pivot. Pivoting isn't about burning it all down. Now, for some of you watching this video, yeah, you're gonna need to burn it all down. This pivot needs to be huge. But oftentimes when we are being asked to pivot, it's actually not that deep. Sometimes Spirit is only asking us for tiny pivots, for little pivots. This could look like changing the pace that you work at. Sometimes Spirit wants you to slow it down. You've been working at a pace that is not sustainable for you. You're killing yourself. And Spirit's like, you can continue to walk this path, but you have to slow down how fast you're walking it. Small pivot. Sometimes the pivot is changing how you show up. I think about this in regards to relationships, okay? Recently, it came to my attention that someone that I love dearly is not invested in our relationship and in me as much as I'm invested in them and the relationship. When I prayed on it, Spirit made it clear that I don't need to distance myself completely from them. I don't need to drop this relationship completely. However, I needed to shift. I needed to pivot how I showed up for them. I gave way too much. I was giving way too much, and I was not getting what I needed back. And when I was articulate with them about what I needed and how I needed it, and they proceeded to minimalize it and not address it, when they committed and doubled down on being exactly who they've always been, when they showed me in their behavior and their language that they weren't interested in healing and growing with me, I understood in that moment that a pivot needed to happen. Now, again, like I said, I prayed for it. I could have easily just ended the relationship, but that's not what is needed. I simply am showing up differently. I understand and accept their capacity, and I've adjusted my energy. And now we can exist in a timeline where I can still love them, I can still give to them, and I'm also not hurt anymore. I don't expect much from them. I pivoted how I showed up in that relationship. Are we still connected? Yes. Do I consider us cool? Yes. But that's because I pivoted and I changed how I show up in that relationship. Sometimes pivoting is a small adjustment. It's a small tweak. It's not a huge change in direction. There are moments and times when it is that, when it's dramatic and big. But more oftentimes, it's small edits that Spirit is asking you to make. It's small shifts that Spirit is asking you to make. And in those cases, well, in all cases, I suggest following the advice of Spirit and pivoting. Repeat after me. I allow myself to adjust without destruction. There will be times when you're going to be asked for the big pivot. There will be times when you're going to be asked to change directions dramatically. But more often times than not, you're going to be asked for the small pivot. You're going to be asked for the small adjustment. And you have no idea what a big difference that small adjustment can make. That tiny course correction can make. Honor the big pivot and honor the small pivots as well. Oftentimes, the universe will use the pivot as a re-anchoring moment within you, okay? A revitalizing moment, okay? A restabilizing moment. We talked earlier about things like loss of passion, loss of energy, clouded, foggy brains, and clouded judgment. A lot of times the pivot is used to reinvigorate, to reignite that passion, to stabilize and steady you when you were in a position where things were wobbly, okay? Re-anchoring, okay? Making sure that you are solidly rooted and planted where you are. Sometimes the pivot is just that, a repotting. You've outgrown the shell, you've outgrown the pot that you were in, and you need some bigger accommodations that help you to be healthier, that help you to grow even better. The reason why we repot plants is because they outgrow. If you're doing it right, your plant is growing, and that confined space that it was in is not going to be adequate. After a while, it's going to serve as a hindrance. What was a home for that plant will become a prison for that plant if we do not repot it. Pivoting is you being repotted. What was once a sanctuary for you will become a prison if we don't address it with a pivot. I know it seems scary, but the pivot is a blessing. It's an invitation into a new life. It's an invitation into a new way of doing things. It's an invitation, not a prison sentence. Repeat after me. I pivot with grace. I pivot with clarity. I pivot and I trust my divine intelligence and capability. So let's take this discussion to the comments. What is calling you to pivot? And have you been afraid to pivot? If so, why? For the other folks, tell me about a time in your life when you pivoted and it worked out even better than you could have imagined. If you're interested in more guided recalibration from me, make sure you check me out at ladyspeech.com. From divinations to workshops to ritual to mentorship, I got you. With that being said, if you made it to the end of this video, gold star for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your time and your attention. Like I said, you could be anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, you are somewhere in the world and you chose to spend that valuable currency of your attention with me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, if you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling any of this, if you're feeling any of me, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, baby. And make sure you hit that notifications bell so you can keep up with everything I'm putting down over here. Now, just in case no one has told you today, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for surviving. I'm proud of you for being here. I'm proud of you for doing the hard thing and pivoting. You got this. And the entire universe got you. Now, God, Goddess, Slawa Orisha, my spirit animal allies, creator willing. I will see you in the next video. Until then,